In TNS this Tuesday, both Machinegunwizzy and PlatinumGrace were explosive in their winter semis bouts, both executing back-to-back no-round browns on Divine Exorcist and Pling respectively. This is PlatinumGrace's first time in TNS top 8, but I am absolutely certain it will not be the last, as I'm sure you will be by the end of this recap. In winner's finals, we saw what looked like a classic Wizzy steamroll with this trademark defense wins championship style. Ever vigilant, Machinegunwizzy positioned himself perfectly for victory with spacing, sidestep with punishments, and violent patience. But what's this? PlatinumGrace got those? The 4-back-1 cancel combo in Game 4 to save their life gave life to us commentators as well as Platinum clearly, because in Game 5 they got the 12-second perfect in round 2, quickly juxtaposed by the next round where Machinegunwizzy presses into the back turn cartwheel string, leading to the floor break in a literal final second rage art combo which just barely swings the life lead into Platinum's favor for the no round brown into the grand finals winner's side hot seat. Speaking of being in the hot seat, Joe Crush has not lost a tournament since August 22nd, and he's hungry for his 10th Tampa Never Sleeps championship. He narrowly avoids defeat here in Game 2 of Losers 8s against Shadow 20Z by interrupting Shadow's Heat Smash with the Crushinator special. Shadow had Joe at last life point multiple times, but Joe somehow rocketed his way into Losers quarters against one of his worst matchups, Pling. At first, Joe was showing his usual dominant form, but the sheer evasiveness of the Art of Phoenix stance, coupled with the massive amount of damage that Xiao Yu gets on Jack, just adds up so quickly, and Joe is stopped dead in his tracks at 5th place. We'll see those two titans play each other again later in the week, but another great matchup for Ling players shows itself in Losers semis rears its head when just Sandy's King comes out to play. It was a fierce back and forth bout with comebacks galore, and we don't even have to mention the evasiveness of Pling, but the intense scrambles that come from this matchup and the micro adjustment on spacing during this SoCal-NorCal face-off could only have one finality. Pling stays tight with the whiff punishment and rides the timer out to victory. In Losers finals, we had Wizzy throwing Hail Slicer after Hail Slicer to break Pling's defenses, but Pling kept a very fret-tight offense and was even able to win Game 5 with the no-round brown. This means that Pling is about to get their run-back revenge from winter semis, and you could say that Pling had a bad taste in their mouth about losing 6 rounds straight. In that grand final set, we had so many rounds go down to the final seconds in the favor of PlatinumGrace, which is a testament to how patient and collected they were throughout the entire tournament. Also, I'd like you to take a look at the game count. Pling switched off from the Yoshi back onto Ling, but still had trouble opening Grace up. In the final throes of madness, Pling goes for the launch punishable backflip, gets blocked, but PlatinumGrace is extremely late on the punishment and is rage arted for their troubles. Round 5 of Game 3 came down to the wire, but PlatinumGrace continued to use their low-risk playstyle for maximum reward, and in their first TNS top 8 was able to win their first championship. At 404's Weekly, we had business as usual for the strongest, most consistent bracket in North America. Speaking of strong, my god, JJBreeze was coming with that hot and heavy pressure during the losers quarters match versus Duetosideeffects, even getting a 12-second perfect in round 3 of Game 1. You know that Luke Sidewalker gotta rear his head and show you the power of the dark side, but Alyssa has some pretty damn good lateral movement as well, not to mention her ability to explode the thought bomb on her opponents and blow up all their momentum, which is how Sideeffects was able to take it over JJ and move forward into loser semis. Meanwhile, let's take a trip to the winner's side with Pokchop and 0-2. 0-2 got a lot of mileage off his favorite string, and he kept his head on a swivel when it came to not only maximizing sidewall combo damage, but even in the wild scrambles. But the situational awareness wasn't enough to keep Chop from laughing his way into grand finals with the cherry on top. Back in Losers, we saw Nomar, who was hot off a second place finish at F2Con's Tennessee Never Sleeps bracket. In his Losers semis and Losers finals matches, he exhibited exemplary whiff punishment as well as maximized opportunity benefit from ducking the strings with highs in them. And I wanted to make sure he gets his flowers for this heat dash combo off the Terremoto counter hit too, because he also got that combo optimization on point. In Grand Finals versus Chop, the two had some very consistent motifs to their game plan. Nomar with the ever-prevalent back 1-4 counter hit confirms into knockdown follow-ups, and Chop with his constant, and I do mean constant, sidewalking to the left to option select Eddie's quick buttons. The Losers run must have had Nomar's hands warm as hell because he was putting the hurt on Chop, finishing the 3-0 bracket reset with a no-round brown, then grabbing 2 more games after that in the reset with another shield to put up. but that just made Pokchop hungrier, and he swung that thing back at Nomar just as hard, culminating in a final round showdown where Nomar risked it all on the Rage Art and Pokchop's patience prevailed for the 404 win. Paragon's ladder started off with a tiebreaker set to see who would make it in the top 8 winner side between Joe Crush and Hey Broken, and boy howdy are those some apt names to describe what happened in that set. I won't belabor the point too heavily, but throughout the entire bracket we saw that trademark Paragon perfect pressure from Joe that he's so well known for, as well as the wild Hail Marys, like this Atlas Hammer for the win on the set. Joe was rocking the Venom custom that day, and villainous as he was, he once again ran into his nemesis Spider-Man, Pling in winner's semis. That show had some wild back shots and combos that did way too much damage, but Joe finally overcame his TNS gatekeeper from earlier in the week to face his brother Riddum in winners finals, who was playing Paul. He started off with the classic unseen gust on the round start, but that was about it, because every time Riddum wanted to throw the Phoenix right, my man Joe came in with the objection. After game 1, Riddum switched back onto the trademark Shaheen, and I just cannot stress enough how much mileage Joe Crush got off of Jack's Heat Smash in this entire tournament, but I'll show you some more on that later. As he continued to gain momentum, Joe continued to unapologetically force his options on his twin brother, not just by throwing the pulverizer string ad nauseum in this round, but when final round of game 3 hit, Joe had a plan and nothing was going to stop him from putting his brother up on the wall like one of his many trophies to become king of the hill. In loser's side, we had a familiar face making their losers run in Game and Anya. Hey Broken was showing the vulnerability of Victor's left side through the sidestep right, but really I want to show you how polished the offenses of both these players are, because we saw quite a few perfect rounds on the side of both players, including when Game and Anya refused to try to punish Hey Broken's 2-1 literally 6 times due to the heat dash mind games in game 2 to tie the set count and force game 3. And in that final meeting on the beach, the sunset of Hey Broken's bracket career could only have ended with another perfect executed by Game and Anya, followed by the teabag execution. Toxic stuff, but you know all's fair in love and war, and we are definitely going to war in losers finals, and you have got to love the amount of optimization that Game and Anya is able to do even in these crazy sidewall situations, but the damage is just absolutely crazy. It went to game 5 where Riddum dug deep into the bag of tricks with the 10-hit combo, and Game and Anya failed the knowledge check and earned a well-deserved key charge for their efforts. Round 1 of Grand Finals between the Olvera brothers went about as you could expect, both players refusing to budge on their options that could get themselves killed, but their hard-headedness is what got them this far, so why flip the script? Riddum took away a few of Joe's favorite toys like the Heat Burst, Heat Smash immediate timing, as well as his favorite wall jump, but after Riddum got his 3-0 reset revenge, a mirror of what happened in winners finals, Joe got a shiny new toy with the Guard Break, Heat Smash, Clash Bash, Can of Whoop Ass combo on the Elegant Palace, executing the same combo twice in a row, once to finish game 1 and then to start game 2. But the real wild and craziness happened in game 3 of the finals reset. Like I said, Joe was batting 1,000 on his Heat Smashes, but Riddum wasn't going to let a win go that easy. Joe tries to keep out, but Riddum's Vega caused the wall splat into sidestep realignment combo after Joe whips. With a little more brawling, Joe and Riddum are both in rage when Mark starts with the 10-hit combo, which of course Joe knows inside and out, low parries, combos, but refuses to use the Rage Art as a finisher and lets his brother live. The Mog Mastermind then uses the taunt as his timing mix, but he was too brazen and Riddum smote him for it. Did I mention that this was game 3 of a Grand Finals reset? In final round of game 4, Riddum's Heat Smash first hit trades with Joe, and he's actually able to use the wake up mid to float the crumple stun and close out with the combo to win the set and take Paragonline 3.